Hey there, my fellow lunatics, and welcome to Dakon's Madhouse. Hey, would you like a free copy of Corekeeper for yourself or for a friend? Subscribe to my channel and leave a comment with the hashtag MadForCK and include the device that you play on. Be sure to pause the video here and check out all of the details. Hey there, my fellow lunatics. We have got a brand new patch today, and this one is a big one. Even though it's not 1.1, it is still a really big quality of life update, and I think everyone's going to be really happy with it. Although I can tell you right now, I'm a little annoyed by it because it screwed up my my core. One of my roots is now broken because the roots got moved. Anyway, they've made it possible for the root to grow for everyone if you break the bottom root now, which is great, but now I've got to fix my own core. Anyway, let's get started. We've got two different updates. First, we've got an update for console, which I'm going to go over very quickly, and then we're going to get to the PC update, which is the big one. So let's go ahead and get started with the console update first. All right, console lovers, this is the 1.0.0.16 update that you guys just got. Now that's going to bring you all of the updates that came with the previous PC update, as well as these PlayFab refactor upgrades. This is primarily a multiplayer update for you guys on console. It is improving the crossplay session connect. Now I know this says on the notes for PC platforms, but what this also means is for people like Xbox One to Xbox Series S or X, or going from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5, this will improve your overall stability for those kinds of connections. As well as been multiple different various fixes and errors regarding network and multiplayer kind of connectivity. So hopefully if you've been experiencing a lot of problems with multiplayer sessions, getting kicked, getting dropped, that sort of thing, you're going to have some improvements there. They've also fixed crash on PlayStation related to the cartography table, so if that's something you've had a problem with, great. And there have been some fixes on crashes for shield blocking as well as crafting menus all across the consoles. So if you've been experiencing those crashes, hopefully you won't be experiencing them anymore. Now, what came out in the PC update that you guys just got, the version 1.0014? Well, that includes a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not going to go over all of the changes, but I am going to leave a link to these patch notes so that you can read them yourself, as these patch notes have been out on PC for a while now. So if you haven't read them yet, please be sure to do so. Primarily for you guys, this update consists of just a bunch of bug fixes. Hopefully you won't have experienced most of these bug fixes, but it does fix a lot of them. There are, however, still some major ones that aren't fixed with this update, and hopefully you guys will get those fixes real soon. Let's move on now to the PC and take a look at the brand new update for PC. Okay, so we've got some patch notes here that I've copied into a Word document, and we start off right at the very beginning that there are 3 new minion tomes. That's awesome. Let's take a look at what those minion tomes are, shall we? All right, so first up, we have got the Tome of Ashes. Now, I'm not quite sure where this thing spawns yet. Let's take a look at what it is. Oh, it's a cute little guy, little fire guy. It does burn damage, so that's great that warlocks now have a status effect for burn. And based on the level of this thing, I'm going to assume that you get it pre-wall, but as of right now, I don't really know for sure. We'll have to do some research and find out. Next, we've got the Tome of Pestilence. And this summons a cute little plant thing, and this thing does range damage, which the other one does melee. This one also applies a poison effect. Again, I'm not quite sure where you get this, though I'm going to assume that it's going to be maybe in the mold dungeons or something post-wall. I really like the idea of this one, especially for the idea of applying the poison. We'll see what it's like when we do a little bit more testing in the future. And finally, we've got the Tome of Decay, which creates this little hand that floats around us and does radioactive damage. So it seems like these 3 new pets are basically giving us status effect damage. We've got radiation damage from the Tome of Decay, poison damage from the Tome of Pestilence, and fire damage from the Tome of Ashes. How well these are, how they stack up to the other summons, I'm not really sure yet. We're definitely going to have to do some digging around and some research, but we'll get back to you as soon as we know more. All right, next on the list, it is now possible to resize the affected areas of shovels, water cans, hose, and the roofing gadget. Oh my God, this is amazing. We have got to take a closer look at this one. Okay, so I've got my wooden shovel here, and it still only digs up one spot. The copper also one spot. There's nothing I can do to make that bigger. However, once we get to the tin shovel, it does 4. And if I hit the R key, it drops down to 1. So I can scale it between 4 or 1. And then with the iron shovel, it's the same. With the scarlet shovel, it looks like we get to a 3x3, and we can scale it down. And then the octarine shovel is also 3x3. And the galaxite shovel also 3x3. That's the best that it gets right now. And when it comes to the hoe, that one is still 5x5, but we can now resize it to any of the other sizes. So you no longer need a separate hoe to do one tile, as opposed to being able to do a whole bunch. So that's great. And you no longer need to keep a wooden hoe and a scarlet hoe. Now you just need the scarlet hoe. The regular watering can still only does 1 tile, but the large watering can be cycled between 4 tiles or just 1 tile. And then let's see how big the roofing gadget gets. It can get up to 3x3, so it's just like the shovels. It doesn't get any bigger than that. But hey, that's still great. So much better than it was before. Oh my God, look at that. Saves so much time. All right, next we've got crafting stations can now pick up materials from chests within a 10-tile radius. Oh wow, this is great. This is really great. I mean, I did just kind of make myself this contraption that lets me move all of my craftable items from one chest to another, which does kind of make that whole contraption obsolete now that I can just have a 10-tile radius, but I don't care. This is wonderful. I love it. Mural doors like the Melody, Worship, and Mold doors can now be destroyed. Thank you guys so much. I mean, I can't tell you how many players I have seen who have been affected by these doors, that they just want to build around them and they can't. So now that they can be destroyed, that's great. If they could be picked up and moved, that would be better so that we could use them again for decorative purposes. But just the fact that we can get rid of them in general is a great step forward. Signs now display text visually within the world, and players can toggle between visibility modes. This one I was like, what? But let's take an actual look, and you can see if I come over here that you just mouse over and it pops up above. And I think this is implemented real nicely. They did a good job with this one. New aquarium and terrarium objects added for base decoration. Okay, we'll take a look at those in just a second. They've also added a new loot chest for Malagaz and created coral or galaxite doors. Oh, I love it. They just adding little things, which is great. Let's take a look at all of this. So here we have Malagaz's new chest. I kind of like it. I mean, the brown, I don't know how I feel about the brown, but I don't care. It's a different color, which is nice. I like the little symbol, the lock that's kind of over the front. That's really, really neat. It almost looks like a dreidel, but it looks really cool still. And then here we've got our coral and galaxite doors, very on theme. They look great. And then we can just go take a look at our various terrariums and aquariums. They seem to hold 3 units within them. And like one will hold fish, one will hold critters. We've got multiple different types. You've got your generic terrarium and your generic aquarium. These are the first 2 here. And then we've got them themed as well. This one's beach themed, desert themed. This one's Azios themed. We've got another beach themed aquarium here, or desert themed aquarium. This is a passage themed terrarium. This one is Solarite, Shimmering Frontier. Yeah, all the various names. So you've got a terrarium and an aquarium for each biome type as well, which I think is pretty cool if you want some variety. Workbenches are now salvageable. Cool. That was nice, because before we just had to throw them away. Now we can get a little something from them. That'll be nice. There are now dungeons leading up to the fight for Azios, Omaroth, and Ra-Kar. Kind of like Malagaz, but obviously they'll look a little differently because they'll be themed for their specific biome. And I don't know what these look like just yet, because I don't really have any worlds right now where I can just run up and take a look, because all my worlds have already found these areas, so I'd have to make a new world, and I can't just quickly get to each of these biomes right now. But I am curious to see what they look like. If you found them already, go ahead and join up on my Discord and send me some screenshots, because I'd love to see what they look like. Shift-clicking items in the player's inventory now moves that item to the first available hotbar slot. That's a nice little improvement, make things a little bit quicker. It is now possible to equip gear and items directly from the hotbar. Thank you. That's much appreciated. Poison and slippery enemies now have neutral behavior and are no longer initially hostile. Well, that's cool. Right now, poison and slippery slimes are considered hostile. Kind of nice to have them be a little more neutral. Should make the wilderness and the sunken sea a little bit easier to navigate, I think. The proficient jewelry workbench now has the option to select the jewelry workbench in the UI to allow for crafting earlier to your items. This is great. The same is true now for the distillery table and the alchemist table. So now you only need to have one of them, not both of them. You can kind of stack it up. That's nice little just tiny quality of life update, and I love it. Added boss damage bonus to the character stat window. Thank you guys. I appreciate that, because most of these charts that we do, we kind of are trying to see what kind of boss damage and if there's extra damage that we do to bosses, because there is gear that specifically buffs bosses. So it'd be nice to know when you're doing a little bit extra. All right, in the others section, throughout the rest of this, I'm not going to read everything. I'm just going to highlight the most interesting stuff, because there's a lot of stuff here in this update, and I just want to go over the best of it. So wood bridges are now handcrafted instead of being part of the basic workbench. I think this is a really nice little quality of life update, because you're making bridges all the time, and you don't want to have to carry around a workbench just to craft these things. The bottom root on the core has been moved, so you can now regrow it and replant it. It's something that I used to say whenever I would tell people that you can regrow the roots on the core. It only worked for 3 of them. The bottom root didn't work because of the way it was placed over the central area where the waypoints are located. But now that it's been moved to the side, it is now plantable. For everyone else who had their bottom branch set up properly because they never broke it in the first place, it's now broken. You can break the little root and move it over just 1 to the right and regrow it back on there, and you'll be just fine. Simplified aim cursor now replaces the arrow when aiming with ranged weapons. I know a lot of people hated the crosshair that existed before, and now the simple aim cursor, this should help things a lot and make it a little bit easier for people. I really like this change. The mini-map now shows nearby markers. Oh man, I love this one, because I can't tell you how many times I'm looking for something and I have to reopen the map, close the map, reopen the map. Am I getting closer? No, am I getting closer now? Now to just be able to see it on the mini-map, nice, very nice. Wooden doors, fences, and gates are now paintable. Robot arms too, but this changes things, because these gates and doors get different graphics when they get painted. So these screenshots were taken by one of my viewers, Hero of Dermwood. They have been really nice in this fact that they've already put together images of all of the new doors, which is great, as well as all of the new fences and gate looks. So now we have a wide variety of looks for our fences and for our gates. This is really, really cool. I can't wait to mess around with this and see what new stuff we managed to build with these new designs. It is now possible to rotate mannequins. That is awesome as well. I really like that. Next, let's talk about the Rune song, because it has gotten a complete overhaul. This one is level 18, so it can still be leveled up at one point, but the Rune song now provides a plus 15 melee on hit, and it has a 7% chance on melee hit to increase your melee attack speed by 50% for a short duration. And then it has a secondary use called Trailing Melody. Not quite sure what that is, but let's go ahead and equip it and see what it's like. Okay, so we're out about in Azios' wilderness right now, and if I hold down I like the animation sound, and then it does this weird kind of music-themed little attack. I guess, you know, Rune's song, it's kind of music-themed, but let's see what this is like. Okay, does some damage, not enough to necessarily kill. You gotta hit them just right on, though, that's for sure. Okay. Is it better, though, than just flat out attacking? I don't think it is. I mean, it's neat and it's thematically appropriate, I suppose, but being able to proc the fast attack speed is probably better. Also, it should be worth noting that I am not wearing gear that does damage right now. I am wearing a set of armor that's designed for glow, so that you can see me better. So if the numbers look like crap, that's why. Alright, they have also updated fishing bait recipes that now include critters. That's kind of a nice change. I think it makes it a little bit more in line with what you actually use with bait. They've adjusted the damage for orbital turrets, so I think that probably means a nerf, because those guys did a lot of damage. And they've also lowered the prices for scanners and summoning items, so those are nice little changes to make things a little bit easier. They have fixed an issue where the aggro range from slime bosses was a bit too small. This one worries me a little. I think this one might mean that the cheese factor for farming bosses is not going to work anymore. Let's go ahead and put this one to the test. Okay, so it used to be that if you had Glurch at the far edge of your screen, then if you attacked, like I'm standing right here, he would not aggro me, and I could just shoot him at range indefinitely. And this would work for any slime boss. And it does not work anymore. Yeah. It definitely does not work anymore. All right, well, they fixed that one. Good to know. I knew they were going to fix that eventually. That bug has been there since the beginning of early access. I'm surprised it took this long. But there it is. You can no longer cheese the slime bosses. Ah, well. It was good while it lasted. Next, we've got this bug fix where they have fixed and mitigated issues with colliders not getting abled correctly around enemies after nearby spawns. I specifically asked one of the devs what this meant, and I was told that this is one of the fixes for the mob spawning problem. Now, they did also mention that they think that there's a couple of other little issues with it, so we may still encounter mobs spawning outside of the intended spawn territory. And if that happens to you, I highly encourage that you leave a bug report, because they are trying to make sure that this gets completely fixed, and this is the first step toward that. So many players will find that their mob farms are now fully working, but if you're still encountering issues, please submit a bug report, because they know they haven't got this completely sorted yet. They've also fixed several cases where dungeons would spawn too close together and overwrite each other, and this is really nice, because this really will make a difference, especially when you're having to deal with situations where a dungeon spawns over a boss spawn dungeon, and you lose your waypoint, and so that doesn't spawn properly, or the boss spawner itself doesn't actually spawn properly because of the weird overlap. So it's great that they fixed that. That should hopefully mitigate a lot of these problems people were having with their bosses or with waypoints not spawning as they're supposed to. The crystal biome is now affected by the ore density world setting. This was actually a little bit of an interesting bug, because it used to be that the Shimmering Frontier had the same ore density no matter what you set your density to. So it's nice that they have fixed that, and it's now appropriately adjusted. I wasn't going to mention this one. The chests that float on water are no longer misplaced by 1 frame when they're placed down. But I actually have had a couple of people, both in my Discord and on my channel, talk about how this simple thing has driven them crazy. So for all of you out there who noticed and have been driven crazy by this, the devs noticed too, and they fixed it. So there you go. And the last one I want to highlight is that boss summoning items are no longer lost if they're broken the moment before the boss spawns. I appreciate this, as I have definitely lost a few summoning items in the past when I accidentally pick it up because I'm trying to attack the boss right at the moment of spawn and ended up not getting the boss and not getting my item back. So it's great that they fixed that. I really appreciate it. And that's everything in this update. If you want to check out all the specifics, please be sure to check out the patch notes. I've got everything linked in the description for what I've got. And if you can't find the specific patch notes, check out the Discord for Corekeeper, because they definitely have patch notes posted there as well. I hope you found this video informative and helpful. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for future content, and if you are feeling really generous, please join us on Patreon or become a YouTube member. Your support means the world to me, and I can't do it without you. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. Stay happy, stay healthy, and above all, stay crazy.